Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. If you are new here and you have never watched any of my videos before, my name's Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids. And I share lots of videos on curriculum, reviewing curriculum, and showing sneak peeks inside of curriculum, as well as thrift store finds. And if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. We're gonna get into this. So today I'm sharing everyone's favorite subject, math. No, not your favorite, not mine either. I totally wish we could just skip over math and not teach it at all. But we can't. We have to teach it. So I'm going to talk about a curriculum that has worked for us. The goal, if you are not a math mom, if your kids are not math kids, but you've got to do it anyway, the goal would be to just at least find a curriculum that works for your family, that is easy to teach and easy for the children to understand, easy to follow, and is not something that brings tears every day. Because we have used curriculum before that we were having tears every single day in math, and that is not fun. So I'm going to share about this today. It's called Christian Light Education, and if you want to hear about it, stay tuned. Okay, so Christian Light Education. If you have not heard of it before, obviously you can hear in the name that it is a Christian curriculum. It is actually Mennonite, so something that you will see, or I guess the authors were Mennonite. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked that deep into where that comes from, but you'll see in the pictures that the little girls wear dresses and the moms usually have, well, the mom always has a head covering on, and the boys are always wearing like dress shirts, and the dads too. Besides that, there's no doctrine or theology or anything intertwined in here. You'll find Bible verses throughout. You'll find that all of the story problems and different things, every once in a while they'll bring in something that has to do with somebody in Sunday school or something. It's very mild, but just wanted to throw that out there just in case. But it's got beautiful, most of them, the drawings are like pencil drawings, as you can see. So you'll see in their other curriculum, which I will be doing reviews on that later. They have a really good reading program and a really good language arts program that we have loved and used over the years as well, and I will be doing reviews on those too. But today is math, so let's talk about math. So I've got 2 different levels to share here today, just to show you that they're all basically set up the same. So I've got level 1, level 3, and level 1. So what you get when you order a level for Christian Light Education for their math is you get a teacher guide, is first of all. A lot of the levels, I think most of them, except for maybe one that we've used so far, they split it up into 2 different teacher's guides. So like this one here for Math 1 is 106 to 110, and earlier in the year I used 100 to 105. So it's kind of nice because then it's not too big. It's just this nice little book that you can flip out instead of having a big, huge book. So I don't think that's a huge deal, but it's kind of nice that they split it up. And then the other thing that you get are light units. So it's not like a textbook where you have to write everything out. The kids do all their work in these books, and that is so nice. We have loved that. So you get 10 of these. This is number 309. So for level 3, you would have 300, or you would have 301 to 310. So what they do is they pull this out every day and they do their work in this book. And then the teacher's guide has a picture of the kids' work for the day. It has the entire page in the teacher's guide with all the answers, super easy to grade. It's a very straightforward curriculum. So I'll talk you through one lesson a little bit, and then I'll give you a peek inside, kind of a closer look. But basically, most lessons are, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. So I think most lessons are going to be 4 pages. And then in the book, you also have 2 quizzes and 1 test. So the quizzes are, I'm not sure where they fall, but you'll do like a handful of lessons, and then you'll do quiz 1, and then you'll do a few more lessons, and you'll do quiz 2, and then at the end you do the test. And then on the back, you can write down the test score, and then that book is done. And then you bring out a new book. So it's kind of, that's another kind of, I think, encouraging thing for the kids, for my kids at least, is when they get to finishing one of these books, they get so excited that they get to move to the next little light unit. So like I said, there's 10 of these. So that's just kind of encouraging. Instead, they're kind of like, oh yay, I finished a light unit. Time to bring another one out. So anyway, my kids have really liked that. So the way a lesson works here, they start off with every day they've got a box here that tells them what to do. So it's usually this one, this is level 3, this has counting, count by 12s to 60, practice flashcards. It tells you which flashcards to practice. These are their flashcards, and their flashcards are really good. These are the addition and subtraction flashcards. These are the flashcards, and they have a setup for grades 1 and 2. So what they'll do is they just go through here. They give you these tabs that you set up when you get the flashcards, and it'll tell you what letter to do. So let's say they're doing grade 2, the E flashcards. They just pull these out and they work on them. And mom can do it with them, or a lot of times if I have all 3 kids doing their math at the same time, they just do it to themselves and kind of quiz themselves. But they're nice, thick, sturdy flashcards. They've got the question on one side, and then the back has the answer. So anyway, those are really good. They've just worked really well, and it's just something they do every single day. They go through their flashcards, and it just keeps them fresh and keeps them making sure they know those things. These are multiplication and division flashcards. These are not set up quite the same. They did not give you dividers, so which I think it probably would be easy to just find them, but I put these little post-it notes on here so that if they're doing like times 5, they just flip through and grab out the times 5 flashcards and they work on those. And these as well are nice, sturdy. They're smaller, but they've got the answer on the bottom for the back question. So there's multiplication on the front and then division on the back, and the answers on the bottom. But these have worked really well. I think they're good, and I've had 3 girls working through them, and they're all still in really good shape. So they'll do their they'll do some sort of counting. If they're counting by whatever multiple they're working on every day, they do their flashcards for 5 minutes. Typically, I don't set a timer. You can, but I just say go through those a couple times. But you could set a timer. Then they have a speed drill. So in the back of their book, there is a speed drill. The nice thing is everything they need really is in this book. So they go to the back of the book, and these are the speed drills. And it'll tell you to do, you have 1 minute. It says number correct in 1 minute. Now I have had times where we were learning something new, or maybe one of my kids was struggling with multiplication right then. And if I set it to 1 minute and they only got like 1 line done or 2 lines done in 1 minute, it would be just, they would feel defeat before, and this is done at the beginning of their lesson. So if they feel discouraged that early on in the lesson, the rest of the math is not going to go well, at least for my girls. So I figured out what time was good. So a lot of times we would do either 1 minute 15, or sometimes we'd give them 2 minutes. And if they got them all, the point is just to be getting quicker at knowing these math facts. So if it takes 2 minutes, give them 2 minutes. Actually, some of the other levels, it gives them 2 minutes. So this is kind of just a guide. I would say just figure out what time your child needs and set a timer and let them do it. And then after they're done, they fill in this. They either have a line graph or a bar graph or a pie chart or something like that, where they fill in their answer. They fill in their score so they can see how well they're doing and if they're progressing. So that also teaches them how to use a graph, because they do that every day themselves. And then it actually says on here, record your score in the graph on page 60. So they check off these little boxes, and then mom can know that it's done without necessarily having to even flip to the back. Then this lesson actually is a quiz. So this one will say here, it says tell your teacher when you're ready for quiz 1. But a normal lesson, you do those things at the top, then it's got your new concept or your new lesson. Now this is something that you can sit down and use the teacher's guide, and the teacher's guide walks you through step by step and tells you exactly what to say. It's so easy to teach. If you are not a math person, I will show you a close-up of this so you can see what it looks like, but it has the new concept. You can read it word for word, which is so nice. Or if it's something that, if your child is doing pretty good in math, or even I would say just average, they can do this by themselves. In the beginning, when we first started this, I would teach the lesson. We've been doing it for a few years now, and unless it's a really difficult concept, especially maybe for my older daughter who's getting into harder math, otherwise they just do this themselves. So they read it out, it talks to the child and teaches it to them. So you really don't need to teach them unless your child's really struggling. You can, but that's the nice thing about this. It really can be a very independent math. So they go through here and they do their lesson, and they'll give them a couple practice problems to do to make sure they've got it. So that would be a good thing to check before they move on. And then they always have this section called We Remember, and that is all review. So all of this stuff is going to be review. So this math is a spiral-based approach. So that means that it continues to review things that you've learned. It's not the other kind of math is mastery, where they focus on one thing and they'll do all their lessons focus on that one concept, where this continues to bring in other things. It spirals it in. I really like this. So I'll just give you an example. This one lesson here, this is all the things that it covers. So you learned your new concept, which was talking about expressions and different ways that you can show a number, like 4 plus 2, 7 minus 1, 2 times 3, like all those different things can show the number 6. Then we've got write sums and differences, and these are big, I don't know if you can see that, but those are big 94,000 we're doing of the 10,000s. Subtracting, we're doing adding. There's story problems. We've got write equal or not equal to. This one talks about writing the quotients, which is dividing. Then on the next page, it says write the multiples of 8. Here we've got times. This one, write the answers, and this is talking about half, write half of a certain number. This says measure the line to the nearest inch or centimeter. So we've got measuring. This one talks about how many feet are in a yard. This is talking about reading a dial, write the numbers shown on each dial. We've got gallons and quarts up here, how many days are in each month if this is not a leap year. Rounding here to the nearest 10, rounding to the nearest 100. Writing a number sentence, or write a number sentence and solve here from words. You're supposed to write out as a number. Then this one says use the map of Rushville. A lot of times in the front of the book they'll have a map or some sort of key that they're going to use to reference, and it'll tell you turn to this page. So they'll have to come up here, and that's how they're going to answer this question. Then down here, finding half of a number, and then they've got fact focus, which is times and division. So all that in one math lesson. Now, I know some people may think that that's a lot compared to some other curriculum that they have used. I have heard that some people will cross off and do every other problem or things like that. I kind of struggle to do that. I don't know why. I used to be a teacher in school, so I don't know. To me, you just have to do all of it. I shouldn't. One day maybe I'll start. I guess I have done it before where I've crossed off a couple, but some people, if they feel like if their kid gets it, they'll just not make them do certain things. It's up to you. I just love how this just keeps bringing back things that they've learned. So it's not like this is book 309, something that they learned in book 303, which could have been a few months ago. It never gets covered again, and then they forget and they don't remember how to do it. This continues to bring it back in, and those things are going to be on the quizzes and they are going to be on the tests. And I feel like that just helps reinforce those things. So I really like this approach. I think it's really good. And I like that they are just learning all kinds of things. I mean, they know different measurements and things like how many, teaspoons in a tablespoon and all those kinds of things. They continue to review in here and learn those things, which I think are important. So if you like a spiral-based approach, and I think this could be really good for you. And if you want your kids to have the opportunity to be independent in math, they really can. This doesn't take a lot of hand-holding. This is really something they can do on their own. You can be at the table working with this child where, that might be younger, while this child is really doing this completely on their own and can still ask a question if they get stuck on something. But I feel like it's just really solid. It's a very good curriculum. From what we've understood and from what we've seen, it does seem like it's on grade level, just so you know. I mean, like my daughter being in 3rd grade did level 3. So I know there's other curriculum where it doesn't seem like it lines up quite right, but I feel like this one does, just in my opinion. So we're gonna look inside and I will show you what the pages actually look like. So here's a look at the light unit up close. So this is the level 3 light unit. We've got a table of contents here. It does tell you in the beginning about grading and how to do self-scoring and different things like that. This is the page that I had mentioned that they'll have in a lot of these books that they will have to reference back later. Each unit does have, or each book does have a theme usually. Like they've had ocean animals and they've had safari animals. This one is neighborhoods. So that is going to be worked into the story problems and what they're going to be learning about. And a lot of times they have different facts on the pages that my daughters really loved that especially. So this is one lesson. So this is lesson 1. Here it shows you what they're going to do. The counting, practicing your flashcards, do the speed drill, and then record your score. So you check those off as you do them, and then you get to move on. Then here, sometimes it'll tell you things that if your child is doing it independently, it is nice that they know this says recite the multiply 8 table to your teacher. So if my child is working on it and I'm working with another kid, they will just come find me and tell me the multiply 8 table and then go back to their work. So here is the new lesson. This is the new concept. So it has it all written out here. They're just going to read this to themselves or you can teach it to them. And then it always has a picture to demonstrate it and shows you how to do it. Then they start to practice. So this is the story problem they're going to practice, and then they write their answer in here, and then it gives them a solution box. And then over here, they're going to have another one to practice. So that's good if you want to check that before they move on. Then the We Remember section. This is all going to be a review of stuff that they've learned before. So that's a picture of the We Remember part. This is so nice because even if you are going to teach them the new concept, this is all you're doing with them. They should not need you for any of this. So all this We Remember stuff, they should already know. So they're just going to sit here and work through all this on their own. So this just shows you all the stuff that is involved, and this was the one I talked about before. And then there's the fact focus here that is basically like the speed drill, but it's not timed. So that's one lesson. That's what all there is to it. So I'll just flip to another lesson here. So like lesson 8 here. It's going to be set up exactly the same way. It's got your things that you do at the top. Then this tells you counting, and it keeps continuing on with teaching what the new concept is. Then they're going to practice it over here. And then we've got We Remember and all this stuff they've learned, and they're just going to continue working on it and keep going on. There's the fact focus that they always end with, and that's a lesson. That's all there is to it. Now they do have a test. They always put it in the middle of the book, so we usually tear it out when we get to this lesson here and stick it in a folder. But this is what the light unit test looks like that they use at the end. They have to get 80 out of 100 in order to pass. If they don't pass, or you feel like they got a low score that you would like them to redo, I will show you in the teacher's guide. They do have they have extra tests that you can just photocopy and give them another test, which is really nice. I've only had to do that a couple times, but it's been really nice to have that option. As you can see, there's a Bible verse here. So here's what a test looks like. Here's one with 3 story problems. The nice thing is it does tell you how to score it, 2 points each. This one says 1 point for each solution, answer, and label. So if they just get like the label wrong, you're just going to take 1 point off. So it's really easy to grade. Then you've got this. I believe it's only 3 pages. Yeah. So the test is only 3 pages. And then you just write the score on the front page there. And then I'll show you what a quiz looks like. The quizzes are in the back of the book. So that's the quiz is just front and back. So that's the quiz there. And there's the back of the quiz. And then these are the speed drills here. They're just in the back of the book. They're all going to be about the same amount of problems. And you're just going to set the timer for however long you decide, or for 1 minute. And they're just going to go through and write their answers in. And then when they're done, you'll check it. They'll write the number in the box, and then they will score it on their graph. And that is what the speed drill graph looks like. So that is the inside of a light unit. So this is the teacher's guide. So this is for light units 106 to 110, and this is level 1. I just wanted you to see that even though these are 2 different levels, they're going to look the same. It's just the same setup, so they know what to expect year to year. They do have a daily schedule in the beginning, and then if you look at a lesson here, it's going to give you new skills, class preparation, and things that you can do out loud. A lot of times I didn't do this, but you can do everything in here if you want to do. Then this is the new concept. So this is going to be what's new here. This is a picture of what their page looks like. So their page is in here with all the answers written in. So this is your grade book, and this is your teaching book. So it's got regular print here, and that is what you're going to do. Hold up a rectangular object. Then in bold is what you're going to say. How many sides does a rectangle have? And even gives you the answer that the child should be telling you. You can just do this word for word. So it's so straightforward and easy. You do not have to be a teacher to teach this curriculum. It's so easy to teach. It does tell you what you're going to do in the title bar for this grade, level 1, this title bar here on their page. It doesn't always have instructions on what to do, so it'll just tell you what they're supposed to circle or what they're supposed to count or whatever. And then there's a picture of their page. This is another new thing in their lesson, so you're just going to go through this with them. For the younger grades here, they're not in the beginning, they're not reading their story problems yet, so it's got the story problem, you're going to read it out, and then they have to write down the answer on their page. Later, they'll have the story problems written out on their paper, and they will just then be doing it themselves once they feel like they're at an age where they're a strong enough reader, but at this point they're assuming they're not. So that's a lesson, that's all there is to it. But as you can see, it's got everything that the teacher needs. It's just really straightforward and easy, and it's so easy to grade. So if you get to the point where you don't need to teach these anymore, this is just your grade book. Like, here's a speed drill. So when we would grade the speed drills, I would usually sit here and just call out the numbers. So they've got a red pen, they're sitting in front of their speed drill, and I just go 7, 8, 8, 7, and they're just checking it or circling it or writing whatever. And then they count them up at the end. So it's really easy to grade these things. There's an example of a quiz and what the quiz looks like. So you're just going to go through and grade it here. So, okay, so in the back of the book, they do have alternate light unit tests, if, like I said, if they do poorly on a test. So here is an example of Math 107, the test for Math 107. You can just photocopy this. So if they did not do well on theirs, you just are going to photocopy this and give them this test to do. And then, as you might have seen before, that there's the answers to the test right there. So that's so nice if your child is struggling with and they bomb a test or something. Just give them another one. Teach them whatever they missed, and so they can still have a good score. So I think that's a really nice option. So that's my review of Christian Light Education Math. I hope that was helpful to be able to see inside and just see how we used it and how it worked for us, and it might be worth looking at. One thing I didn't mention before, it's very affordable. I believe these light units are like $3.50 each, $3.50 each, and you're buying 10 of them. These, I don't remember exactly, they're either $10.50 or $12.50. I think they're $10.50. I'm not sure. Either way. And you're either buying 1 or 2. And you can just do that if you already have flashcards, but the flashcards weren't very expensive either. So really, this is a very affordable curriculum, which is nice, because I know there are math curriculum out there that are like hundreds, or at least 100. And I feel like we've used this for years for all 3 of my girls, and it hasn't felt overwhelming. So it's been really nice. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you use for math, or if you've ever used Christian Light. Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please. And make sure you subscribe so you can be notified when I have my other videos come out. And I will, like I said, I will be reviewing their language arts and their reading pretty soon. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification button so you know when that comes out. So thanks for watching. See you next time.